Hello everybody, my name is Brandon. Welcome back to Cinefessions, where we talk all things media. So I am here today to take any ounce of credibility that I might have had as a film fan or even just a horror movie fan and just toss that right out the window, because I am going to be reviewing Friend Request from 2016. So this is a movie that I picked up recently here. I think it was in my disc replay movie haul that I did just this past week or so, and this one actually garnered a number of comments on it. Most all of them, I guess, were negative. And then after the video went live, my buddy texted me, Chris, who always sends me those physical media care packages. He texted me with something like, "Oh my God, Friend Request is the worst." And so I texted back like, well, now I'm even more interested in seeing this movie. So I ended up watching it later that day. And I will say that my experience with Friend Request was notably different than most people that I've seen online. So I figured this would be an awesome opportunity to talk about this horror movie. So this, like I said, is from 2016. It was directed by Simon Verhoeven, and this is essentially Germany's answer to the movie Unfriended. So I was looking it up and I was wondering, kind of if there was any relation at all. And I got it here on, I think this is one of like the trivia things on IMDb. It talks about the fact that this movie was originally titled Unknown Error, but apparently Unfriended, it was called Unknown User in Germany. And so because it was so close, they switched it to, it was Unfriended at one point, but of course that is the American title to the film, Unfriended, so they couldn't use that. So hence Friend Request came in here. So I'm really kind of excited to talk about this one and just share with you guys my experience with the film. So let's not waste any more time at all. Let's dive right into my review of 2016's Friend Request. Friend Request is very similar to what you would expect it to be about, given the title of the film. We are following Laura, our main character here, who is played by Alicia Debnam Carey, who I actually knew from The 100. She was in, I don't think she was in season 1 of that show, but she came in later. I want to say season 2 or 3. And I thought she was great in The 100, and I really liked her here as well. I think she's just a really talented actress. But so she's playing Laura, who is this really popular college girl. She has, over 800 Facebook friends, which they don't actually call it Facebook, but it is Facebook. I'm sure just for legal reasons, they couldn't actually use the term Facebook. But she has all these friends on this online social media platform. One day, actually, the start of the movie takes place like basically 2 weeks in the future. We find out that one of their classmates has committed suicide, and then it jumps back 2 weeks prior to kind of lead up to that point. And the person who has committed suicide is this girl here. Her name is Marina. And Marina is this loner girl. She's an artist, but she has no friends at all. She's just like kind of the creepy girl in the corner. Literally, when they pull up like her Facebook page or the equivalent, the friends is at 0, which is just silly. And I mean, that's one thing about this movie, is that the whole premise of this is it doesn't make much sense. But if you can kind of get past that, then I think there is something here that's worth talking about at least. So anyway, Laura ends up accepting a friend request from Marina, and that's when things kind of get weird. Marina becomes this basically obsessive stalker. Laura is her only friend, and so then over the course of like a week or whatever, Laura starts getting freaked out by her. Eventually, she lies to her, saying that her birthday party was just her and her boyfriend. Marina, of course, finds out because all the pictures go up on Facebook or on the social media platform, and that causes all this tension between them. They explode in the class, or in this lunchroom, when Marina confronts Laura, and then the suicide occurs that is talked about at the beginning of the film. And then from there, basically all this supernatural things start occurring. It appears possibly that like the Facebook page is haunted and is kind of haunting Laura and her friends. So I'll leave it at that, because of course I don't want to talk any spoilers, but that's the premise. And like I said, it is ridiculous. It doesn't really work all that well. Maybe if these kids were in high school, it would make a little bit more sense. But, I just feel like college is just such a different time. It is, this person who is, Marina, who is a very talented artist, she would make friends. Like, it would be easier for her to make friends in this setting. Clearly, it's not that she doesn't want to. She just has some mental issues that she's dealing with, some social anxiety issues that are going on there that are playing a part. And then, of course, there's some supernatural things going on as well. But yeah, so if you can get past the premise, if you kind of just let that go and just are kind of buckle yourself in for a few scares, you might enjoy this one like I did. So I will admit that I am a bit of a scaredy cat when it comes to particular horror films. Now, I can do like the torture genre without blinking. I can do, most horror, frankly, without it being an issue. It's just when it gets to some of the supernatural horror and the jump scares. Jump scares always get me. I was always the one at work when we were actually in the office and, whatnot, that people would always try to scare because they knew they would get a reaction out of me. I jump very easily. I've just always been that way. And I enjoy jump scares in horror movies, and I know some people don't. Some people prefer to have the scares come from the tension that's built up, the atmosphere that's built up, rather than just a cheap, easy cat jumping out of the closet type of scare. And I totally respect that. Though Verhoeven is definitely playing up the jump scares more than anything here, I still think that there is something to talk about with the atmosphere of this movie. There are some genuinely creepy character designs here. They might not be the most memorable out there, but I think some of them are really well done. One of them right here is on the cover. You can see that. I mean, that's a creepy image to me, and I think that works really well. You can see some of that on the back of this DVD box art as well. I think those are done quite effectively. To me, it was more than just, yes, this thing is popping out at me. It was, wow, that's popping out at me, and that is pretty darn creepy to look at as well. For me, the creepiness here, the reason those jump scares were so effective was because of the atmosphere that Verhoeven was able to create with these character designs, these kind of monster or creature designs as well. And then just the use of what's real, what's not. There's a moment kind of in the beginning where our main character looks into this mirror and just is kind of transported into this other realm. And it is just really interesting and well done. I think this film had to have a lower budget. I don't have any idea what the budget was on this, but it had to be a lower budget film. And I don't think that really shows with a lot of the effects that are done here. There is just some really gross out moments, but they work so well for this. I'm specifically thinking of like a scene in the elevator, which is just so creepy to me. I keep saying that word, but that one really worked for me. And that one wasn't really a jump scare at all either. That was just, you know what's going on, and then here is this kind of thrown in your face over and over again, and it was brutal and bloody, and I really thought it worked well. Ghosts and demons are not the only supernatural elements at play here. You also are dealing with witches, or kind of the mythos of witchcraft. And I think that works really well for the story that's being told here. I really like the use of wasps in this, and I won't give away much more than that. I just think it was effective. It was kind of like with Jaws, when you hear the music, you know something bad's going to happen. Here, when you either heard the buzz of the wasp or you may have saw a wasp, you know something is coming up. And they do a really good job of tying that sound or that image in with kind of creepiness or just bad things coming. And I thought that worked really well. I know there are some character motivations here that can really hurt this film for a lot of people. Specifically, the third act kind of... it takes things in a much different direction than you might have expected, at least than I expected at all. But I thought it worked given the situation. I did not have a problem understanding the character motivations and just going with it. And I think that's because while I thought the premise to this and kind of the whole setup and just the idea that like this main character, our Laura, is going to stay here at this university to like try to delete her profile, and that's not working, and she just wouldn't leave this area. Like, that whole thing is just ridiculous. But again, I was just going with it because I was enjoying the scares, and that really is what this movie is about for me. But so that said, I understood the character motivations here, and I think that third act works quite well in my opinion. I did not have the major problem with it that a lot of people have. I really think that Paul Verhoeven has a really good eye for horror, and I think given more of a budget, given just a better script, I really think that he could do something interesting with this genre. But unfortunately, he has not yet tackled the horror genre again. He's definitely a working director. He does a lot of things in, I guess it would be Germany or South Africa. This film was actually shot in South Africa, but it is a German film. So I assume that's where he's doing a lot of his his work, and it's just things that I have no interest in watching at all. So hopefully he does get another shot to do the horror genre, because frankly, I think he could do something really cool here that will get a little bit more respect than this film has gotten. The biggest problem with Friend Request has to be the script. Not only does the story just, it's kind of silly, it's ridiculous. It's kind of just there to deliver on these scares, which will ring hollow for a lot of people, I admit. But I really enjoyed the scare, so I liked it a little bit more than the average person probably would. But I will also mention that there is a lot of people were talking about how this is like, there's comedy in this as well. There's some comedic relief, and I really thought that didn't work at all. There's two cops in this as well, and they are kind of the comedic relief, or supposed to be that, in this film. They have a couple one-liners here and there, and oh boy, that doesn't work for me at all. Like, this film was not aiming for that type of atmosphere whatsoever, at least in post. I don't know what they were aiming for while they were filming, but in post-production, it was clearly going for a very serious tone. It was a film that took itself seriously, and I think really most of the actors took this very seriously. It's just there were these two cops who were trying to be funny, and it didn't work at all. It just did not fit the tone of the rest of the film, and so that really hurt it for me a little bit. Speaking of the acting, though, I thought it was shockingly well done. So aside from Laura, our main character, I didn't recognize any of these other actors at all, but I thought they did a good job for what they were asked to do. I believed that they were friends. There's a scene where they go out and drink for Laura's birthday. That felt so genuine and just kind of natural. I really liked that. I was concerned about their well-being, so that's saying something about the story itself. But there is not a lot of depth here at all, which is probably what you would expect given a film like this. It's not really what it's about. It's about the scares, and I think those are done quite well. So for me, I totally recognize that this is not a great movie by any stretch of the imagination, but I still found myself genuinely freaked out by the vast majority of this film. Frankly, from like the opening, maybe 10 minutes on, I was hooked on this one. I was really enjoying it. At one point, I picked up my phone because I was trying to remember who the actress was that was playing our main character, Laura, because she looked familiar to me. I picked up my phone, and then something was about to happen on screen, so I was just holding it, watching the movie, and boom, a jump scare happened, and my phone went flying. So, it really got me. And I'll admit, like I said earlier, I am a bit of a wuss when it comes to these things, but the jump scares for me were really effective. And again, the atmosphere leading up to those jump scares is what made them even harder, I guess I'll say. So, Friend Request is definitely not going to be for everyone, as evidenced by the 1.9 stars out of 5 that it's averaging right now on Letterboxd. I still am glad that I bought it. I'm glad that I grabbed this for like the $1 in change that it ended up being from Disc Replay. I will mention that, this is available on Amazon right now. I think it's $5 on DVD. There is a Blu-ray for $10, but honestly, the DVD looked really good here. I didn't have any issue with detail loss in the dark scenes, and a lot of this movie is done at night. So the Blu-ray probably is worthy of an upgrade at some point if I come across it cheap. I will also mention there is one special feature on this disc called The Social Nightmare. That is like a 12-minute, completely standard behind-the-scenes making-of thing where it's basically just a fluff piece talking about how great the movie is, how awesome the experience was, how the director was just, he was an actor himself, so working with him was so great. It does not really add anything at all to my experience, so you're not buying this for the special features. But yeah, so while I would not recommend running out and buying this, if you do see it on a streaming service by any chance and would like to waste an hour and a half of your time with something that may or may not scare you like it did me, I think Friend Request was worth the time. So I am going to give Friend Request from 2016 3 out of 5 stars. All right, so now that I no longer have any credibility as a horror movie fan, I would love to hear what your thoughts are down in the comments below. Let me know, did you guys see this one? Is it one that you hated like most people, or did you find something to like about it like I was able to? Let me know your thoughts, and also let me know, is this one that you now maybe want to check out, or are you going to run the other way like, frankly, you You probably should, but let me know what your thoughts are down in those comments below. I really appreciate you guys leaving those thoughts down there. As always, if you guys did enjoy this video, please give it a like down below and consider subscribing to Cinefessions here on YouTube. And like I always say, I don't just talk movies, I talk all things media, be it books, movies, graphic novels, manga. If it's media related, I'm interested in it, and if you are too, you might consider subscribing. Alright guys, so that is going to do it for today. I just want to say thank you all so much for watching, and I want to encourage you to consume some media today. I'll catch you next time.